when I was around 19, I switched my major to computer science, started CMI, and started learning how to code. As soon as I got a footing on coding and was able to build apps, my very first idea was Are They Hooping, pretty much. I built a couple of apps before Are They Hooping just to get a better feeling of how to code, make sure I could build a well functioning application. But once I felt comfortable and had the confidence, it was natural that I went to a basketball app. I grew up playing basketball. I've been playing organized basketball since I was about like 5 years old, and I played all the way to college. And pickup is a huge part of my life. So it was kind of natural that once I learned how to code, that was the first thing I went to.
Welcome to the latest edition of Adeptus On-Air, and today we have a very cool guest in Ron Jones. Ron is the CEO of Collective Minds and the creator of the Are They Hooping app. So, Ron, thanks for taking some time today to join the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. So, before we get into some of your ventures and businesses, just start by telling us a little bit about your background. Just tell us about your upbringing and where you were raised.
Yeah, so I'm originally from New York, Bayshore, Long Island. I moved up to Georgia or down to Georgia when I was around 11. Moved to Lawrenceville, Georgia, and then lived there for a couple years. But then from 16 to now, I've been in the North Metro Atlanta area, so like Alpharetta, Sandy Springs area.
That's awesome. What are some of the differences from New York to Georgia? I'm sure you go back and forth, but we have listeners all over the country. So just tell us some of the cultural differences, the traffic. Oh, I guess just traffic in Georgia like crazy too. So that's similar. But what are some differences you see in those two locations?
Yeah, so the biggest difference is New York is super fast, hustle bustle, city that never sleeps. I feel like everybody's always active doing something on their hustle. Georgia's a lot more laid back. Everybody down here is very entrepreneurial, so people have a lot of goals, and everybody's really connected down in Atlanta. So everybody helps each other out. It's more of a community based, but the daily life is a lot more laid back, a lot more relaxed. Um, like you said, there's a lot more traffic in Atlanta. Everybody drives down here. Whereas in New York, a lot of people don't even have the license. They're just walk places because everything's kind of in the same distance. But in Georgia, everything's a 20-minute drive. So yeah, that's a couple of the differences.
It's awesome, man. So tell me about the Are They Hooping app? I love the name. How did it come about? When did it come about, and how did it come about? The whole concept.
Yeah, so let's see. The idea itself came about right after I started learning how to develop. So when I was around 19, I switched my major to computer science, started CMI, and started learning how to code. Once, as soon as I got a footing on coding and was able to build apps, my very first idea was Are They Hooping, pretty much. I built a couple of apps before Are They Hooping just to get a better feeling of how to code, make sure I could build a well functioning application. But once I felt comfortable and had the confidence, it was natural that I went to a basketball app. I grew up playing basketball. I've been playing organized basketball since I was about like 5 years old, and I played all the way to college. And pickup is a huge part of my life. So it was kind of natural that once I learned how to code, that was the first thing I went to.
That's awesome. What's been the reception to the app so far? I saw you said you had about 30,000 subscribers already. What's been the reception so far?
The reception's been great. I've actually been overwhelmed by the support. Like you said, we have around 30,000 users right now. That number is pretty rapidly growing. The more marketing we do, the more that return has been coming, and we've been able to see that support in community. A lot of people, when I talk to them in person or pass out business cards or tell people about the idea, it's immediate like, oh, that's really cool. I can't believe I didn't think about that type thing. Everybody usually, when I tell them my idea, they're pretty receptive, download it immediately, and really just want to build a community and see if people are hooping. I think that's one of the biggest questions as a basketball player when you're trying to play pickup, just knowing where to go. So having a solution for that in hand, a lot of people appreciate.
That's terrific, man. So if you can, just for our audience, just kind of run the step by step for a potential person using your app. So if I logged onto your app and signed up, how do I go from that point to finding a pickup game in my neighborhood where I want to play?
Yeah. So once you download the app, the very first thing you're going to do is onboarding. So you're going to create your profile. You can create your profile picture, upload your highlight film if you have one, customize your username, and just get your profile together. You can put a banner image. Once you have your profile together, the next tab over, the second tab in the app is the map. If you click on the map, it'll automatically geolocate to your location to show you all the gyms in your area. Once you click on one of those gyms, you can see who's there, who's hooping, go to their profile, check out their highlights, and you can see when they're hooping as well. Or you can schedule games. So you can go to the map, go to a gym that you want to play at, and then just schedule a game and then send out the link to people. So that's probably like the two easiest ways to see immediately when you download the app what's going on. And then there's also a social page. And on the social page, people can post what they're doing, kind of like a timeline on most social medias.
That's awesome, man. I know, I just play pickup ball, and I know one of the challenges for me is I'm in my 40s, so I don't want to play with the 17 and 21-year-olds that are just, diving for the ball and things like that. I want to kind of stay in my age range a little bit so I don't get hurt. That wasn't a concern when I was 25, but now, in my 40s, that is a concern. But how do you mitigate that part of it in terms of, not, kind of having the appropriate age groups playing against each other so it can be, somewhat balanced?
Yeah, the easiest way to do that really is to check out people's profiles. So when you go to see if there's a game going on, you can look at everybody's profile and get a general flow of what kind of run that is. There's also levels and rankings. So if everybody's high ranking with high levels, then they probably hoop all the time. Um, Whereas if they're new to the app or new to hooping in general, they might have a lower level or they might put it in their profile. You can also message people and just ask how the run is. Things like that.
That's awesome, man. You mentioned you had a basketball background. Tell me a little bit about that. You've been playing since you were 5. Just tell me about your hoop days.
Yeah, so like I said, I've been playing my whole life. I started really as the tenacity guy. I played a lot of defense, got a lot of rebounds. In high school, I didn't really score too much. I was like a 12 and 10 type guy, 12 points, 10 rebounds. Um,
Pretty good. I would
yeah,
call that scoring in high school.
yeah. I'm about like 6'3", so at most high levels I'm a guard. But in high school I actually played power forward. I was at a small private school, so I was playing power forward in high
Mhm.
school, and then when I got to college, it kind of translated a little bit. So I was playing 3 and 4. Um, but it's funny because after I left college is really when I feel like my game blossomed. I got a lot more confident. I started playing pickup a lot more and trying to play with a scorer's mindset. So at this point in time, I would say I'm a lot more of a shooter and a scorer. I'm getting to the cup. I'm getting a lot of shots up. And I, a couple years back, went up for a block on somebody and they kind of bent over and I flipped over and hit my head and
Oh
cracked my
no.
head open a little bit. And since then, I don't really
Ooh.
jump no more with people. So my rebound numbers went down a little bit, but I score a lot more.
Wow, wow. No, that's an incredible journey, and it's interesting. You said you started as a defender and kind of got into the scoring mode later in life. I think one of the great things about pickup ball and basketball in general is that you really only need to be very good at one skill to contribute. If you're a lockdown defender and that's your skill, that will help you, contribute to your team. If you're a knockdown shooter and can just stand behind the line and just hit threes all day, that you can contribute that way. As you mentioned, driving and penetrating and additional, passing, whatever it may be. Now, ideally, you would have, 3 or 4 skills that you can, kind of go to. But even if you just have one skill in a pickup game, whether it's rebounding, 3-point shooting, whatever, that usually makes the game pretty fun. You can kind of contribute, in that way. Any plans for expansion or what's, maybe going to more states? I'm not sure how many states you're currently in, but what's ahead for the app?
Yeah, so to this day, we've been focused on creating the perfect product. We've been trying to create an app that is fully functional. as well as fun, engaging, and some that our users will love. We finally feel like we got to a point where everybody can enjoy the app to some extent. So now we're focused on marketing, getting everybody downloading the app because with this type of app, yes, it's a tool app, but it's also a social networking app. And with that comes strength in numbers. So the more people that download this app, the more beneficial it'll be because you'll see more people hooping, you'll be able to interact with more people. So now we're focused on trying to get large numbers of downloads, whereas in the past we are focused on product. And this is really a 2025 thing. So 2025 going
Hmm.
on, we'll really be out there marketing, putting out videos, and really just trying to expand as much as possible. As far as where it is now, it's actually available all over the world. Wherever you are, you can download this app and use it. But most of the gyms and our users are in the US. And then a lot of those users are in like the East Coast area, just because that's mostly where I am. And that's where I've been doing a lot of hands-on marketing. But like I said, we're all over. So wherever you are, you can download the app and enjoy it.
Awesome. Usually, if I have a tech, tech specialist on, on our podcast, I ask about AI. Just what's your general thoughts on AI? I know that's the kind of the big topic that people are really going to say could dominate over the next 5 years or so. Just what's your general thoughts on AI? The good, the bad. What we should be thinking about as casual tech people. Just be good to know. Hear your thoughts as someone that's in the tech space.
Yeah. So to very first thing about AI is this moving incredibly fast. A couple of years ago, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation. And the fact that right now, even in the tech space, a lot of people are integrating AI in their work and their product. So not only have I been seeing, for example, people including AI in different applications, TikTok, Twitter, Google, um, but on the back end, I've noticed that a lot of companies that I've been working at or working for in the development space, a lot of them use AI to help them develop and help them build their actual products. So AI is really becoming integrated in a lot of ways in our life, and it's happened very fast. And I think it's really only going to progress faster, and the capabilities are only going to expand. So as far as AI goes, I feel like if you haven't really looked into it or got into it, it's probably something that you should. Kind of, if you're not interested, at least get an idea and knowledge of. I feel like it'll just as it could be as revolutionary as kind of like when internet or smartphones hit. Some people were resistant, but now at this point, it's like you have to have it. So I kind of feel
Yeah.
like AI is going to be something like that.
That's awesome. You also perform poetry and spoken word. How did you get into that, Ron?
Yeah, so my dad used to do poetry and hip hop and rap a lot when he was younger. So when I was growing up, he used to like to write with me and rap to me. So that's kind of where the love for it came. I've been writing since I was little, but in college, I kind of focused on it a little bit more. I wrote a book. I published a poetry book in 2017, and then I think in 2020, I came back and published the deluxe version of it, and then I do some performances in different areas where I can perform because that's probably the second. That's the other half of it. I like to perform just as much as I like to write.
And where do you get your inspiration? Is it just cultural? Is it from just inside, internal? Where do you kind of get your inspiration for your work, your poetry?
I try to get inspiration from wherever inspiration can come, if that makes sense. If I feel inspired by something and I feel like, oh, this is something I could write about, I'll try to sit down and put it to paper. I have some things that are, like you said, cultural or social impacts that are going on currently or social events that might catch my eye. I have poetry about that. But then I also have some that are just lyrical, where I just sat down, I just felt like writing. And I think both of them are different aspects of what I can do, and both of them are fun to me and just different ways that I can create.
So we have we're in 2025. We have a new year ahead. Just what do you see ahead for yourself? Not just this year, but let's just say in the next 2 3 years down the road. What's ahead for Ron Jones?
So are they hooping? We want to get that as big as possible, millions of users. We have another app. Are they coaching that helps trainers find kids that are looking for training, and kids that are looking for training help find coaches that can help them develop their skills. So we would like to expand upon that app as well. From a collective minds perspective, we do development and websites and marketing for third party companies. So we want to expand that as well, work with more small businesses, develop more applications and prototypes, and get a better footing in the tech space. Diving into AI a little bit more, and then on my personal life, hopefully in 2 to 3 years, um, I'll probably be looking at doing a little bit more of what I'm doing now. Hopefully, might be married by then, and yeah.
It's awesome. It's exciting a future ahead, man, for sure. And you're already doing a lot, so it's just add more to it, man. That's great. For the audience, where can they find you on social media? Where can they find your social channels? Where can they find your products? Information on your company, whatever they may be looking for. Where can they find it online?
Yeah, so me personally, I'm Ron Jones 32 on everything. So if you're looking for me, that's where to find me. And then as far as Are They Hooping, it's just at Are They Hooping on pretty much everything. And you can find us on pretty much every social media platform you can think of for Are They Hooping. And I'm on most myself.
Awesome. Well, Ron, thanks again for all the information and detailing the Are They Hooping app. Sounds like an awesome app. So I definitely encourage uh, audience to go check it out. And thanks for sharing your story, man. Thanks for joining Adeptus On Air and being a tremendous guest.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. And it was great. So I really appreciate it and can't wait to see it on there.
Thanks for listening to Adeptus On Air. If you like this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. The views and opinions by the podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Adeptus. This podcast provides general information only and is not intended to constitute advice.